Good morning, everyone. I see three people gave me their likes last night. Donna says, I hit the first like. See you in the morning. Woman of Spirit says, I hit the like in case I can't make it to the live again. Blessings all around. Andy Rabbit says, maybe I can get on some in the morning. C says, good morning, cuz. Good morning, cuz. Do I sound okay? Can you hear me? Yeah, okay, that's good. Tell you, it did wonderful in our meeting. First time everybody was able to hear me on Zoom. Well, I got the kitchen all ready. Was going to call the guinea pigs last night. And I thought about it too much and got myself all wound up and didn't do it. But I got everything ready for this morning. So what's happening with you this morning, cuz? Let me see what's going on here real quick. Okay, had to make a couple new brooders. I have a hatch plan this week. Well, I found out that my cages for the koi rather, were not strong enough because the bottoms came out. So I had to figure out a way to fix those after I call the other ones. Good morning, Andy. Welcome back, Andy. Back home yet? Have you returned home yet, Andy? I thought with it being cloudy outside, that window wouldn't shine so much. No, not home yet. I'll be leaving tomorrow. That's what I thought. Andy didn't honk at me when she went by. She went the other way. She tried to fool me. What's the other way, cuz? Oh, you guys are joking so much. Oh, you want north first, huh? She went from misery to the hot pan, huh? We are in a bad cold snap right now. The temperature outside's only 29 degrees. Ah. Annie agreed that's the way she went, and Steve says I'm southeast. I thought she was going more southernly. Well, see what happens when you think cuz? Besides that, speaking of procrastination, did you get any microgreens started? Those koi will be processed tonight. Well, not tonight, this afternoon after live stream. And I gotta take some cages apart and figure out how to make them stronger. I'm gonna end up just throwing them in the garbage. Diane Tuttle from Tuttle Farms. Tut Farms. Hi, all. Hi, Diane. Good to see you this morning. I know, Steve. You changed the subject from the greens are in your future. They'll probably be in your future even when you're 6 feet under. And he says, what kind of cages you have? I have Dale's quails, triple sized brooders. And they would work except for the staples are coming out of the wiring. So I have to screw them in. Yusuf, hello, Verna and everyone. It's been a busy week for me. What was your total on your no turn hatch, Yusuf? And did you see any deformities? 30 out of 80. Well, that's better than a lot of people thought. No deformities at all. That is wonderful. So, in other words, you get a low hatch rate if you don't turn. Healthier than with turning. No, that's because only the strongest survived. And he says, "Oh, can you flip them over so the wire could be on top, not hanging? The wire's hanging on both ends. So I have to put a strip of wood over the wire after I restaple the wire to kind of give it more support." See, says, "I wish that he had done a dual hatch, half turn, half not turn." Andy says, "I just meant the bottom board only. There's no, what I had to do is I had to put some wood strips on it." Diane says she had 22 out of 44 quail Wednesday, doing great. Love my babies. So that's a 50%, Diane. Did you use a Goby inside your incubator? And he says, "I'm doing a dual hatch. Half not turned and half turned? Question mark, Andy? I'm acting like I'm speaking in my phone." Andy, and Steve says, "Andy, is that half quail and half rabbit?" You don't incubate rabbits. They incubate themselves. Diane says, "Yes, and I always only get 50%. Do you know where the cold spots are, Diane? And is it with a fan or is it still air?" Andy says, "Yes, half turn, yes, not turn, and half R." Diane says, "No, no fan." Okay, that's where the problem is. A lot of times you get like if you can't get one from the manufacturer of your Goby, you can always get a computer fan put inside of it. Uses says question. What does it mean if they pip and work their way around through almost the entire egg but died? They didn't have the strength for hatching. Your humidity was probably a little low. Says I have those now and normally a lot. Yeah, it's because the humidity is a little too low and they're using all their energy to zip. Yeah, it was 70%. According to what, Yusuf? According to your incubator or according to the Goby? And he says, but I'm not sure how it would come. It hubby told me he smells a rotten egg smell coming from the incubator. Yeah, incubator. So you have to leave the Goby in. The Goby would tell you what the true humidity is because that incubator could be off. So it sounds to me like it was not enough humidity. You gotta leave the Goby in there all the time so you know what the problem is. C says, I was doing a dry hatch test and messed it up, so I'll have to repeat it later. Because once my furnace isn't running very regularly or it's warm enough that I can open up a window, I usually do a dry hatch until lockdown. Then I bring the humidity up. Uses says, oh my God, the English white Copernicus are so cute. Yeah, they're cute, but they're not, but you have to vent sex them. Uses still, uses says, still worth it to me. Diane says, I did a dry hatch till lockdown. Yeah, that's what a dry hatch is. You don't add water until lockdown. Usually says, pretty birds have a little hat. C says, they are the cutest until their feathers start coming in. Usually says, you know what I'm talking about, the little dots on their head. Yes, that's why I laughed, Yusuf, because I knew exactly what you're talking about. And some of them won't have the dots and some will. Usually says, one has two hats and one hat on its neck. Yep. Yeah, I'm getting rid of skunk face and I'll put little red, who isn't so little, in with little mama. Maybe I can increase those koi size. Um, but Blackie's gonna go in with his usual mate, Big Mama. Feather Connections, Homestead. Hi guys, I'm here, but my to-do list is so long today, I'll just listen in. Glad to have you, Kelly. See, when I get off here, I gotta put a beef roast in the slow cooker and start calling the koi, the kui. He says, just turn the incubator off. Today's day 21, right, Yusuf? Yes. Sometimes you'll have some pop out after you turn the incubator off. Just make sure that none's chirping before you throw it in the garbage. Steve says, I got 2 whites out of 32 chicks. What kind were you hatching, Steve? Mine that hatched on day 23 and 24 were both too weak and never made it. Yeah, that's what usually happens with most light. But if one zips right now after he's already shut the incubator off, it's saying, hey, I'm hatching. Don't get rid of me. Andy said, is Dawn here yet? No, Andy. And you know why I'm at it? I should text somebody else that I'm live now because they don't never look at things. Let's see. There we go. She says, I did that with a chirping egg. It didn't make it. Hey, there's Matt, Bethard Ranch Homestead. Good morning. Good morning, Matt. It's always a pleasure to see you. What time are you going live today, Matt? So good to see you, Verna, and you all. Hello, Matt, Andy says. So about how many hours till you go live, Matt? Mine's 8:30 Mountain Time. What time do you have now? Oh, in 12 hours. Okay. And then I'll be able to tell you how many kui I processed today. Andy says, I bought the shaker siphon hose, Matt. Matt says, how cool. I've used it so much, Andy. Yeah, it's better than getting your mouth full of some stuff that you're trying to siphon. Because that's the way we used to do it. So, like I said earlier, I'm going to take Rusty and put him with little mama so that that those pups will end up with some of big mama's genes in it, hopefully the growth ones. And I'm going to process skunk face out of the old originals, and then about all the rest of the babies that are not pregnant. Because I'm going to check. I'm going to get all the males at least today. Well, me, I'm having Matt wanted to know, he asked about skunk face. He goes, "Are they harder than quail to call?" I'm going to process them the same way I do quail. I will tell you tonight if they were harder to process. I know mentally they're hard for me to process because they're furred, because they're mammals. But once I do one, I should be all right afterwards. Because I'm going to process them like you do a rabbit. I'm going to peel off the skin with the fur and do it that way. I know the hardest one's going to be skunk face because he's the oldest of the bunch. He's probably about a year old. And there's Ricky, Psycho Ward. Says, "Hi, everyone. Hi, Verna. Hi, Ricky. Good to see you this morning." And I know Witch Doctor is doing a class right now, so she can't be on. We got 13 people here and only 9 likes. Matt says hi to a psycho, and Ricky says, "Good to see ya." Jasmine Bass says, "Good morning, sunshine." Good morning, Jasmine. Matt says, "Hit the thumbs up, everyone." Ah, now we're up to 15. C says, "Your likes are very short. I show 14 likes. I see 15 right now, cuz." Otis, good morning, Otis. "I would only want to have them with skins on. Roasted like little pigs is how they do it down south." Yeah, but I'm in a small place, Otis. So me scraping all the fur off and that is too time consuming. Ricky says, "I'm sitting in class too, and Melanie is secretly watching you, LOL." Otis says, "Good morning." Jasmine says, "Going to be AFK for a bit, just listening." That's okay, Jasmine. I know everybody's busy this morning. And Kelly says, "I got my like in, Steve." Ah, now I'm up to 16 likes. Thank you all. Now 4 more, and I got my 20s. C says, "Plus the size, I would think scraping them would be more difficult." No, just too time consuming and messy. It's just like quail. Sure, they taste better with the skins on, but who wants to pluck them without a plucker? Matt says, "I have to clean up today after a crazy 2-day snow and windstorm. Yuck." Oh boy, Matt. See, we're supposed to snow from 10 till 12, and that's it today. In other words, they're supposed to snow during my live stream, and that's all. Otis says, "Hot water bath like plucking chickens." I know. I might do that down the road, Otis, but for this, my first calling, I'm going to de-skin them. And I think I'm going to put the fur in borax to dry them out. Otis is flat. Fat is flavor, LOL. Yeah, but I'm sure there's fat other place. Matt says, "I still haven't had the skin on the quail." Matt, it's not that bad. You don't need a plucker, really. All you need is a dry towel to rub the feathers off with after you pull the big ones out. Psycho Ward says, "I love cooking my quail on my smoker." Do you wrap it in bacon when you do it, Ricky? Yup, that's what he does. He wraps it in bacon, puts it on his smoker. You guys ought to try one of Katrina's ways, and that's cooking it in your car on the dashboard, and that comes out juicy. Glenn Wells, howdy howdy everyone. Checking in and thumbs up button has been activated here at Mission Control. Thank you very much, Glenn, and a good morning. Matt says, "Are you feeling all 100%, Verna?" Yeah, with the condition that made me miss last week, yes. With this weather changing, I just have sinus problems. I live with that most of my life. C says, "Our smoker guy tends to overcook them. He thinks he's a pro." Hmm. Is that you or your grandson, cuz? Ricky says, "We're going to try them in our steamer next for taco night next. Try like Katrina did and cook them in the front windshield of your car. Since you're in Las Vegas, Nevada, Ariel." Steve says, "No, not me. That's your grandson then." Yeah. Because what it looked like to me is cooking them in your windshield is like if you were to slow cook them. So he says, "Nope, James too young to barbecue, but it is his daddy." Oh, no. You should have him smoke some eggs. Cause and when are you scheduled to get your NPIP certification? Ricky says, "I wonder if they would be good in a sun oven." Yeah, they'll be good in a sun oven. That's what you doing it on the dash for your car in the front windshield is doing it like a sun oven. Oh, this is solar windshield oven. Yep. C says NPIP. One day, ha ha ha. I had to stop hatching first. You got to get NPIP certified so you can ship me some eggs, cuz. And I'll do a review on your shipment and everything. That way you can generate your customers. Ah, Aaron and Katrina, Christina is not here yet. Wonder if they're going to show up today. And he says, "I thought Katrina was just about crazy when I seen her car cooking video." Yeah, but it works. Ricky says, "My dog says they're really good with these feathers intact. So does Lucy." Steve says, "I had to do NPIP just to sell eggs off site or to be able to deliver. So get that NPIP certification, cuz that is one thing you want to quit your procrastination on." Because procrastinating on that is procrastinating on making money. Matt says, "I just got New Mexico permits. Next is NPIP." Wonderful, Matt. Tell me when you got it. Marianne says, "Good morning from South Florida." Good morning, Marianne. How are you this morning? And he says, who said stop hatching? I'm the one that told him he has to stop hatching because he has to get his NPIP. He has stopped long enough for that. Gliss is tired of temperature control issues. We have too many electrical fluctuations. Went back old school to manual controller and have tested the last 3 days, ready to throw in some eggs. Wonderful, Glenn. Matt says New Mexico requires permit for every move you make. I like to be under the radar, but I need to be legal. I understand that, Matt. Ricky says, I cleaned a bird one time for my dog and he didn't want it. Crazy, right? He wants the feathers too because they do have a lot of nutrition in them. Otis says, I had a good hatch after losing power 3 days and 4 nights from the crazy windstorm. What was your hatch percentage, Otis? And at what stage of the incubation did you lose your power? Inquiring minds just have to know. She says they claim they can go 18 hours without electricity, but I'm not going to test it. Andy says, Steve, run a storage unit, moves the hatchling into there until after they leave, then bring the young ones back home. Thinking about all the ways around, huh? Marianne has a question. Can quail eat canned vegetables like potatoes, green beans, mixed veggies, so I can give them the leftovers? Thank you. Yeah, I'm sure they can eat it. Make sure you strain all the water off of them first. And I think your rabbits can eat them too, if you have rabbits. Matt says, I'm working on grid-free incubator prototypes for frugal off-grid living right now. Yeah, in areas that you live in, it probably work. In Ohio, it wouldn't work because we have too many cloudy days. Because I think a standard one could work off your solar setup, Matt. But finding one that actually works off of just sunlight would be great. Right? Ricky says, I had a really bad hatch last month when it was 39 degrees and the lid flipped on the wind lid was off for 7 hours, but I still hatched 18 birds. But how many did you have in altogether, Ricky? C says, is that off grid with solar or off grid as in no electricity at all? Marianne said, awesome, thank you. Otis says weak in like 35% first 24 hours, zero power on last few, ran a tiny generator on and off every few hours. Very interesting, Otis. Matt says, I'm using small solar and a candle heater system. I think candles would be good until they hatch and the way they knock things down. $18 out of $120 Oh boy, that is terrible, Ricky. I'm so sorry. Peppy's home says, "Sorry I'm late. I was on the road." Well, Peppy, I'm glad you got off the road and got home. Safely, that is. Andy says, "My incubator must have an egg explode in it, so sad part is I will lose some of the hatch, but it's okay too. This has been a sad week at home for the hubby." Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Andy. Ricky says, "I was really sad when I got home from work." I can understand, Ricky. Diane says, "After the rain, snow Thursday and Friday, now 18 degrees and frozen water." Oh, that is cold. Right now, we're at 30 degrees, Diane. Matt says, "The candle is in a forced air chamber outside on the side, and the solar moves the fans." Now, that's wonderful, Ricky. I mean, Matt, that would be great. C says, "Andy, is the freeze dryer packed up?" Otis says, "My birds have all but stopped laying last few months. 19 hours of light and local mill feed, but my rate has dropped all season." Otis, try cooking up some beans and some rice and lentils. Let it cool and give them a scoop of that for a few days. Every time you feed, add the scoop of that and see if it increases your laying. Andy says, "Night before last, something got into the quail cage again. They found a 4-inch spot they got into and got like 5 quail," hubby said. "The 2 rabbits having their litters on the wire." Oh, no. I can see why that's a hard week for him. That would wretch me too. Just a minute, y'all. I gotta blow my nose. And he says 2 rabbits have died. Maybe whatever got the quail got the rabbits too. I think it's just 2 rabbits anyway. That would make me sad too, Andy. Otis is thinking it from a pole shift, LOL, not tractor supply feed. Either way, it wouldn't hurt them because it gives them more of the nutrients that causes them to form the eggs. C says, "Mine stopped too. Lightning strike took out my extra light. I'll just let them rust for a month." Yeah, I don't blame you. Lightning striking that close would actually, if I was a hen, stop me from laying. Ricky said, "Andy, that happens to me, and I found out it was a rat getting my quail." Andy says, "My husband said so sadly last night. We've lost so many animals this week." Oh, I hope you gave him a big hug and tell him that's part of being on a farm. You learn from your mistakes and try not to repeat them. And he says, "No, Steve, it's not yet." Glenn says, "I had 31 rabbits, but lost 4 that got mashed in next box and found one that got out of the nest box last night. Didn't find it in time." Oh, I'm sorry, Glenn. And Matt's agreeing with me. Steve says, "I should make my final payment next month on my freeze dryer." Woohoo! And he says, "So sorry, Glenn." So, Kelly, what's your good news? Yeah, that's gonna take you about a week or so, a week to 1 or 2 weeks to get it after you make the last payment. Otis is not sure how legit it is, but I've heard rats are deadly afraid of cooey. Don't know, but maybe you need to get some cooey. And he says, yes, Verna, it is part of being in the farm life. Yeah, but it doesn't make it any easier. Your husband's got a tender heart. I mean, I still get upset when something dies for no reason. Tell him that it can only get better now. And Otis, that could be true because if a rat sees a cooey, they think they're coming across another rat that's a little more muscular than they are. Andy says he normally don't have any animals die when I'm gone. He is always so proud of himself about it too. I feel so bad to him. And Kelly says, good news. Yeah, whatever you posted those pictures about, I can't see it. I can't look at them when I'm on a live stream. And whoever's doing your mass mailing, emailed me about the same thing I'm going to school for, Kelly. Matt says, I had a chicken get crushed in the automatic door. The sensor failed, but the door moved so extremely slowly, almost felt like the bird deserved it. Not moving, just kidding. I understand what you're saying. That means one senseless bird. Fran says, howdy, everyone. Just popping in to give my thumbs up. Hello, Fran. And you're coming up with a lot of ideas that I've been seeing. Andy says, oh, the hubby does have a very tender heart for sure. That makes him a keeper, Andy. Ricky says, I never heard of a cooey. It's C-U-Y, not C-O-Y, Ricky. And it's another name for guinea pig. It's the original name for guinea pig. Fran says, hey, Verna. Yeah, I've been watching your farm, and you guys are coming up with a lot of good things. So he says, we need just one more like. I agree, because I show 19. And he says, yes, Verna, I know, he's a keeper. I ain't letting him go anytime soon. Pappy says 14 out of 15 of my hens are now laying daily, with one dropping soft shells for a few days. That I have 22 that need to be sexed that are 4.5 weeks old. Are you talking about quail or chicken, Pappy? Andy Cross gave his thumbs up. Hi, Andy Cross. Pappy says jumbo quail. Okay, how long have they been laying, Pappy? Francis, we are starting to get busy, feeling great. Moving 18 yards of free mulch today. Way to go. And there's Shiloh Doggy giving his thumbs up. Oh, we got 20 now. Yay! Pappy's home said about 2 weeks now. Okay, if it's still throwing a soft yolk, offer them off to the side a little bit of crushed oysters or crushed eggshells. Pappy said, okay. Yeah, you offer it to the side of the food, not in the food, so that only those that feel they need it will use it. Matt says, free. Why, that's the best kind. Oh, Feather Connection said, oh, I put a fence up to seclude my upper yard from the chickens to seed for clover for my bees. You got bees, Kelly? That's cool. And how's your composting going, Fran? Caesar's, yep, Kelly even has a bee costume. Cool. The one that you wanted to send Zach, Steve? Be right back, people. I need to get some more coffee. She says, no, Ed sent Zach the costume one. I call the regular one the costume, as that's what Zach called it by mistake once. Ah, okay. Kelly says, I'm getting bees April 15th. Andy says, OMG, it is so cool here, but brr, 48. Well, Andy, if you think 48 is cold, I have 30. In just a minute, let me find out what the wind chill is. Echo, what's the wind chill?
Currently, the wind chill is 24 degrees Fahrenheit. Today, expect it'll feel like 21 degrees.
So the wind chill is 24 degrees. Steve says, Kelly, they also love marigolds and zinnias too. They have lots of flowers and easy to grow. Matt says, bees. Ricky says, I dry my quail eggshells and grind them up in a blender and sprinkle it in the food when I do quail eggs in freeze dryer. Yep. On my quail eggs, every time I eat eggs, I throw the eggshells a pie pan or a cake pan, and when it gets full, then I put it in the oven when I take something out of the oven and just let the oven cooling down cook the eggshells. Matt says, I want bees, but I'm afraid my neighbors will poison them. Yeah, if they're using insecticides and stuff on their yards, they will. And he says, I would rather have Missouri 20 over Texas 40 any day. Otis says, will all the mowing grass in the next few weeks? C says, I was in San Antonio once, 70 degrees at 6 a.m. and 30 degrees at noon. Oh, I hate when it does that in reverse. Matt says, I also put ground shells and a little vinegar to pull calcium out, then into the garden. And he says, I swear anything under 60 degrees in Texas is just way too darn cold. Kelly says, Steve, I have so many flowers that are getting started for them too. I always plant marigolds because wasps and squash bugs hate it. I have zinnia too. Nikki says, just drop by to say hi, all. Got a doctor's appointment. Hey, Nikki, stay safe and hope everything goes well at the doctor's. Kelly says, Steve, it's still super cold here in Utah, getting around freezing at night. Andy says, my granddaughter said it was too cold to go back to the fair, LOL. And she says, hello, Nikki. So I'll be putting those furs into borax today when I process the cuy. And then in a couple days, look at a video for me cooking and tasting them. And he says, my poor hubby is dealing with freezing water this week. Poor guy. So he says, Verna, you going to wear a cuy shawl at QuailCon? No, because by then I should probably be done with cuy and just getting ready for and being ready for the Havana rabbits Andy's going to bring me. Kelly says, I worry about neighbors poisoning. However, one neighbor doesn't even mow the grass, LOL, and the other has bees. Well, that's cool. But what is it? Isn't it about at least a mile radius the bees go in? I'm not sure if Fran would have to answer that. If it's 1 mile, 5 miles, or 10 miles. And he says, oh yeah, my new pretty cuy guy I got is gone, to hubby said. Is hubby making you get rid of your cuys? And he says, up to 3 miles for bees, I was told. Somewhere I had heard it was up to 5, but I'm not sure. Or it's 5 miles. Excuse me. I know what the 5 miles was. It's when your hive splits and you capture that those bees, you have to take them out 5 miles away from the hive for at least 24 to 48 hours before you can bring them back. So that way they think it's a new location. Jasmine says 2 or 3 miles. They can go further, but it's pointless for them to waste the energy to fly back. I agree, Jasmine. And Jasmine was right on what I said about when you catch the hive that split. See, I learn a lot at YouTube University, don't I, Jasmine? And you also only move them at night. That way they're all in the hive. Jasmine says, my garden hive is thriving and made through its 4th winter. That is wonderful, Jasmine. Has it split yet? Look for a split this spring. C says, James will be so mad he missed this live with and Jasmine. Aw, poor James. Where's James at today, Steve? Jasmine says, I have been keeping bees for 9 years. Have you increased your hives by catching the ones that split? C says, James is sleeping. He had a dirt bike accident the other day, so he's crippled for a week. Dawn says, good morning, everyone. Welcome back, Dawn. Thank you for the like you gave me last night. Oh, we got 21 likes. Woohoo! Now Lucy's got to see what I'm all excited about. Oh, this is honey is God's candy. Jasmine said, poor James. And he says, the guy 3 houses away from me has bees. They come and visit me sometimes. Well, that's great. And he says, hello, Dawn. Otis, I always heard that honey was the nectar of the gods. Dawn says, hello, Andy. Okay, now go lay down, Lucy. Now, Annie, for sure, do you want me to keep the blackhead one for you for QuailCon? Or do you want me to look for one similar and another breed, another litter? She says, hello. And Steve says, Don and Andy was looking for you. Andy says, no, Verna. Well, are you going to get rid of your kui? Or are you going to still keep them, Andy? C says, who all is signed up for Quail University? I'm signed up for Quail University. I think even old timers need to take it for refresher course. The downloads that you get for free for purchasing 80 lessons are worth more than the $49 you pay for the classes. Ricky says, Verna, are you still getting 150 eggs a day? No, I wish I was. I've only got 5 hens, Ricky. Matt says, I gotta get to helping the kiddo. Have a good day, Verna. Have a great day, y'all. You have a wonderful day too, Matt. Don says, Steve, I come late. I have to get up and do my rounds before I get here. Now that includes 2 brooders of baby quail too. Yeah, Dawn, that's what I have to do before I can even sign on. Truck 3 says, I'm signed up, excited for it. Good to have you, Truck 3. And he says, I'm not 100% sure yet, Verna, about keeping them. Yeah, if I do keep them, I would keep only 1 set. Jasmine says, they are amazing downloads. We worked our batooties off to create everything. She says, I had to split my brooder today. They're getting too big. Ricky says, me and Melinda signed up for the university. Cool. Otis says, I couldn't put up with the cooey screams. They don't scream at night, Otis, unless they're giving birth. Jasmine says, yay, Truck 3 Warden. I hope you love it. I'm sure we're going to love it, Jasmine. John says, Andy, I backed this up to see what's going on with you that I missed. It doesn't sound good. Andy says, Don, you should tell them about your crazy thing about the hatch. Truck 3 says, Jasmine, I am sure I will. Jasmine loves it, all what we're saying. Andy says, oh, Don, it's a crazy week at home for hubby. Kelly says, that's a good point on Quail University, Verna. Maybe I'll do that. Goodness knows my hatching issues are plenty to need refresher courses on that alone. Yeah, but the downloads just themselves are worth more than $49. And then you get the refresher course. They remind you of things you forgot you knew. Don says, Andy, I wouldn't know how to do that in YouTube, LOL. Guess what is on my porch just delivered? The burrito you coaxed me to get. And he says, I'm thinking about the Quail University after I get home. And she goes, woohoo, Dawn. Lucy, you got another hour. All right. Lucy wants to come up and say hi, everybody. You got sleep in your eyes, don't you? Let me see your other eye. Yeah, you got little eye boogers. Andy says, Dawn, I'm taking about the plate thingy. And Steve says, hello, Lucy. Andy says, hello, Lucy. Give you a kiss. Where's my kiss? Let me give you one. Aww. Lucy May. Hi, pupper, says Jasmine. She says, Lucy should get a treat from us. Just saying. All right, I'll get up and give her a treat. Let me up, Lucy. She heard that. Oh, a lot of crumbs in here, Lucy. I'm going to have to throw the crumbs away. There you go. Yeah, Jasmine second the motion. And Dawn says, Andy, I forgot what plate. Andy says, I know what that was. You're talking about the brooder plate? Okay, that's all I use is brooder plates. Truck 3. Oops, Ellie saw Lucy and computer went flying. Guess that is her version of hi, Lucy. Is Ellie your granddaughter or what? And he says, okay, Dawn, good. Jasmine is about to head out to the feed store. So many farm babies to feed. Yeah, Jasmine, I want to see videos of those kids you have. C says the only plate I know has 2 quail and sides on it. You're silly, cuz we use brooder plates. I use brooder plates. I got 2 of them. And everybody's laughing at my cousin because he's not just a procrastinator, he's also silly. Don says, okay, we were moving the hatch out of the incubator into the brooder. I grabbed all the eggs and put them on a plate to inspect them. I went into the brooder while hubby came back into kitchen. Ah, truck 3, Ellie the crazy German Shepherd. She not crazy, she just likes Lucy. And Ricky laughed at Steve and he said, goodbye, Jasmine. Dawn says there was an egg that hatched on the plate and the quail was walking around on the eggs on the plate. It was so quick. I bet it was cute too. Too bad you didn't get a picture of it. Now that was cute though. Dawn says, I never saw it. He grabbed it and came running in with it in his hands, and I told him to stick it down in the brooder. Oh, that would have been cute. And I could just see him running to you in a panic, Dawn. C says that would have been cute to see. David Lister says, I'm back. I'd give you an excuse, but David, excuses don't mean anything to me. Just welcome to have you here. Yeah, see, cuz says Dave, excuses not needed. I know life has to happen, and I'm okay with it. And he says, I just love that story, Dawn. David says, a boss of mine used to say that an excuse has a half life of about 30 seconds. And he says, my hubby told me one rabbit I haven't gotten babies from before has at least 3 babies and are doing good. That's great. David says, I'll be going into lockdown around noon with 60 of my own eggs. Good luck and happy hatching, David. Don says he was mad at me for leaving it. It wasn't even pipped. Tell him things happen and you just deal with it. And he says, haha, Don, like you meant to do that, right? So, cuz, are you going to get that storage up for your brooder chick so that you can get your NPIP test done? Dave says, Steve, what was your final count last week? Andy says, good luck, David. Ricky says, I just put my eggs on lockdown last night. Well, good luck and happy hatching, Ricky. She says, I go into lockdown on Thursday. Dawn says, I want to hatch more, and with the new incubator, it should be better. But I need to keep the eggs coming in, so I can't call adults until this hatch is almost laying. I would say only call your excess roosters, Dawn. She says, officially, David, I had 32 survivors. I ran those eggs to the trash so quick I wouldn't hear any more chirping. Andy says, he told me last night one of the silver foxes was pulling fur last night and had a lion's head too. Fingers crossed. Ricky says, I'm putting Mulaney on lockdown tonight. LOL. Yeah, good luck at that, Ricky. Dawn says, Steve, do you put chirping eggs in the trash? I haven't figured out what to do with them. I assist them out of the shell and usually have to call them a day or so later. Yeah, I never assist hatching. If one's chirping, I throw it back in the incubator. And he says, my daughter had her son Thursday. He was 10 pounds, 13 ounces, 19 inches long. They are home now already. That is a congratulations to you, Andy, for your grandson. A new grandbaby's always fun. C says, "It was weak, Dawn. I assisted. It didn't make it. It was on day 24. Yeah, I had one hatch in the garbage can one time." And she says, "Andy, keep going. You need more. I have 15." You have 15 grandkids? I only have 2 I know about, and I don't see them. Ricky says, "Putting her on lockdown is the only way I get to see her these days. So much work lately." Yeah. Hey, Ricky, did you guys check out that site I sent you? Dawn says, "Wow, one hatched in the garbage can?" Yeah, Dawn, I heard chirping in the garbage can and retrieved it. Dave says, "I never heard the eggs chirping. Tendinitis. Is that good or bad?" It's good for you, David, but it might be bad for the chicks. And he says, "He is so darn big and chunky." Yeah, because my daughter was 6 pound 1 ounce and she was 19 inches. So seeing one that is 10 pounds, 3 pounds heavier, almost 4 pounds heavier, yeah, that would be chunky. But he's a beauty. All that baby fat makes him all the cuter. Is she feeding naturally or is she gonna feed with a bottle? Ricky said, "Did Melanie tell you we are going to be grandparents for the first time?" What site was that you sent us? That's the one where you for $200 down, you can get some property. It shows you abandoned properties in that. David says, "Andy, congratulations." John says, "My last one was 10 pounds, 15 ounces, and 21 inches long. Came out, had to wear size 3 months clothing, LOL." Yep. And David, I got tendinitis in my left ear, but not my right ear. And he says, "I have 6 and 5 others for some reason or another. I don't have anyone. Sometimes I may get to see again after they turn 18, I guess." Good, she's breastfeeding the natural way. Buster says, "Sorry I'm late. I will have to rewatch." Good morning, Buster. And you don't have to say you're sorry for being late. At least you made it. Ricky says, "Oh yeah, I did go check that out." Yeah, that was the one I sent her in her Facebook Messenger. Did you guys find anything there? Yusuf checked it out when I sent him the link, and he was sad there was none in Massachusetts. And he says, "My daughter is like, OMG, we don't have diapers for him that will fit." Ricky says, "Congratulations, Dawn. That's a healthy baby for sure." C says, "Who's ready for QuailCon? It's getting serious now." I am excited for QuailCon. In fact, I kind of wish it could last all year long instead of just a weekend. Wonder who all. Oh, Ricky. Melanie needs to get hold of Zach because Zach's saying he needs to talk to her. Ricky says we are definitely going to QuailCon. So Ricky have Melanie contact Zach. And he says, my last baby I had was 10 pounds and 5 ounces, 21 inches long. She's now 6 foot 1 inch tall. Dawn says, Ricky, at first the doc told me it was twins. I cried for a month, lol. Then found out it was going to be a monster. She is still a monster 40 years later, lol. Truck Tree says, Michael has asked me 3 times if we're going to QuailCon. 3 times already. He had such a good time. I told him, of course. That's right, Truck 3. You got to come see me again. Because QuailCon is a blast. And I'm going to have a whole lot of astronaut ice cream ready for QuailCon. A lot of them are going to be what I made myself. Ricky says, with a little luck, we will be able to drive to QuailCon with a truck camper. We did talk to Zach, and we are great. So you talked to Zach since Thursday? Because you said he needed to talk to you again. Steve says, every time James hears QuailCon, he lets me know he's ready. David says, we're thinking about QuailCon this time, but it's such a long drive to Ohio. We just got back from a quick turnaround to the Palm of Michigan. My brain was roadkill. See, where are you coming from, David? Aren't you in Oklahoma? I think Ohio would be shorter than Michigan, than Upper Michigan. Yes, eastern Oklahoma. That's why Michigan is farther away than Ohio. So if you can make it to the Palm of Michigan, you can make it to Southwest Ohio. Enough is enough, Lucy. Go lay down. Only 900 miles, David. You can do it. No, I'm not going to be paying you all this attention. Not right now. You go out after this is over with. Ricky says, we want to move to a 5-hour drive to Zach's house. That is cool. I'm only 15 minutes away from Zach's house. Steve says he's 600 miles. Dave says, ha, thought I was going to die when the weather went sour on us. That time of year, the only thing you have to worry about is rain and thunderstorms. See, first QuailCon, it was sunny and beautiful. Second QuailCon, it was rained all weekend. Well, Sunday was all right. And see, Truck 3 says, QuailCon is worth it. Great community. Ricky says from Las Vegas to Zach's has 2 flights, and man, I had roadkill brain too. David says, we spent 3 years in Wright-Patterson, so I kinda know the weather. Yeah, David, because Wright-Patterson is a little farther away than my Shire Farm is. If I'm not mistaken, that's on the east side of Dayton. Northeast. No, I have homemade peppermint candy ready to go onto the freeze dryer. All I gotta do is scoop it and throw it in the freeze dryer. But I have to see how many cooey I can call today. My quail are doing great. Andy says quail count is just about as long as a drive as it is to where I am at now. Yep. David says our kids graduated from the same high school as Zach did, just not the same year. That's cool. Well, y'all, I have to answer a call. I'll be right back. Okay, let's see. John says, yesterday I made 2 pounds of turkey jerky for the dog in the dehydrator. Now hubby wants jerky for himself. Yep, you should do half the dehydrator for the dogs and the other half for yourself. C says, I want some jerky too, Dawn. Dawn says, Steve, don't you have a dehydrator? Yeah, but Dawn, he's a procrastinator. David says, Steve, I have a brother-in-law that is kind of jerky. You can have him if you want. C says, I do, Dawn, I do. Andy says, I bought the Meyer lemon tree There's a clementine tree. I'm thinking about maybe getting 2 now. Do it, Andy, do it. Ricky says, I like to make turkey too. I wonder if we could make it in a freeze dryer. Well, the thing about a dehydrator is it cooks it, whereas a freeze dryer doesn't cook it. See, so you'd have to cook the jerky first, then freeze dry it. It'll work. Dawn says it's so much cheaper to make it yourself than buy it. Hubby is a procrastinator too. So he says, no, thank you, David. I'm not Hannibal. And he says, oh, Verna, I get it too then. Yeah, I have, yeah, because if I had a house, a 1-bedroom house, I would be able to have, what I want is a kumquat tree. Now, Meyer lemons are smaller, but they're sweeter. If I had one, I'd get a kumquat and maybe a lime. C says he wants a fig tree. I got a fig tree, Steve. I got to cut off those scions for Andy and Katrina yet, and I want to root them before I send them. Dawn says, Andy, you had me get a new incubator, so I'll spare, and now Verna is making you buy trees, LOL. Andy says, I want some fig trees too, Steve. I wish these scammers would quit calling me. Andy says, haha, yep, Dawn. See? Dawn, she gets paid back. And C's away from the keyboard. And I'm going to get some more coffee. And I'll be right back. Let's see. David says, we have a couple Bartlett pear trees. First fruits last year. They were good. Yeah, the senior citizen center next to me has a pear tree in the back. And last fall, I harvested the pears and freeze dried them because they're so good. Andy says, I think I'll make me some coffee. Do it, Andy, do it. Don says, I just put headsets on, going to get more coffee and start breakfast. I'll be listening. Okay, Don. Don says, 21 degrees here. I need coffee. Yeah, it's up to 32 degrees here now. And Steve is back at the keyboard. Oh, my sinus are killing me today. See, I figure with me living in an apartment, I grow microgreens, which I'm out of right now. I will have my hydroponics growing soon because I got all the food for it now. I'm saving quail poo. I already filled up all my buckets outside with it. And cuy and quail. I just need more quail. C says we had a freeze warning this morning. Now we're getting another warning for tomorrow night. Winter be gone. It'll be gone in 2 more weeks, cuz. See, daylight savings. Spring begins on the 20th. Monday, spring begins. David asks, do you feed microgreens to your quail? Yes, I do, David. They love it. C says next week is the first of spring. Yeah, March 20th, which is Monday. Monday morning, you're supposed to greet the sun and welcome it. Welcome spring. She says, I don't want to wear long johns while greeting the sun. Well, go out there in commando for all I care, cuz you won't have to be there very long. David says, Monday morning, we have coffee and donuts with our pastor. A great way to welcome in spring. I agree, David. I think after I process the clay and clean up from it, maybe I'll make myself some homemade raised donuts. At least get the dough all prepared and shape the donuts and put them in the refrigerator, let them raise overnight and have them the next morning. Well, there's a law here now. Dave says, I need to send about 20 birdies to freezer camp this weekend. Well, David, I have at least 9 cuy. At least 7 cuy, up to 9 cuy that I'll be processing. Then I'm gonna put all the females in one cage and all the males in another cage. And she says, freezer camp shuttle. Oh, that's a green bus instead of a yellow bus, cuz. I thought you were gonna drive the special yellow bus. So he says, I didn't have a yellow bus, so I had to use a trolley. Dave says, I'm sorry, my headsets are messing up, V. Will you be processing? Cooey. In other words, guinea pigs. And I'll be putting the hides in with borax to dry them out when I process a cooey. Katrina says, good morning, everyone from Gilroy, California. I hope you are well, Verna. I'm a lot better. I'm just battling sinuses today. That I can live with. You can tell that by looking at my face. Drug Tree says, hi, Katrina. Andy says, hi, Katrina. David says, that's a new one for me. For eating? Yes, sir. David, that's what they've been eating in South Mexico for thousands of years. And it's only when somebody went in that area and found out about them that they decided they were too cute and made them pets. Katrina says, hi, Truck and Andy. And Dawn says, hi, Katrina. Oh, man, I got to take something for this headache. Andy asks, how did processing go? I didn't do it last night because I got myself too worked up, but I got it all ready to go today. C says, I know that cooey is another name for guinea pig. Do we just refer as cooey so it sounds more edible? Oh, that's so kids don't get so upset, Steve, I think. He says, hi to good morning to Katrina. Dawn says, Verna, will you be doing more cooey again? Yeah, I will. Depends on how this batch goes. I'm pretty sure that Big Mama's pregnant again. Andy says, really, guinea pigs are not pet friendly. They just enjoy you feeding them. Yup. Dave says, hey, USAF sent me around the world. You don't want to know some of the stuff I've eaten. Okay, David. Like chocolate covered or fried grasshoppers, fried worms, fried bugs, dog, horse. Chuck 3 says collecting duck eggs and quail eggs for incubating and ordered 100 hatching eggs and chicken eggs coming in May. I think I'll have a bird math disease. No, you just got a brain fart that you don't care. Katrina says, nice truck. David said, woof, yup. I know about the dog, David. My brother went to Okinawa and he had dog there. Ricky says, hi, Katrina. How's Callie? C says, there is no shot to cure that, truck 3. You have got 20 minutes yet, Lucy, so go lay down. Truck says, nope, Steve. Michael just looks and smiles at my projects. Yep. Trina says, hi, Ricky. We finally have some sunshine. Rain on the way, though. Yeah, but it's not gonna be that bad, Katrina, not compared to what you've been going through. David says, "No, but there are self-help groups. Hatchaholics, it is, trucker. That's why I tell everybody when they get their first eggs out of their chicks, I said, "Now you're getting the fever." The fever leads to hatchaholic. She says, "True, Verna." Ricky says, "Which means we will probably get some more rain too." Truck says, "I don't think there is any hope for me. I'm happy like this. Keeps me out of trouble." Katrina says, "What's your herbal remedy for sinus issues?" Katrina, I don't have one because I have chronic sinuses. SL says, "Katrina, stop it with the rain. I've had enough." David says, "We hatched our first cubby from Zach a year ago this month." Trina's laughing at Steve. Nanny says, "My funniest mistake was buying the incubator." Oh, your funnest mistake, not funniest. Katrina says, "Nice, David." No, I can't wait until I get me more quail eggs so I can build up my covey. So my projects after harvesting the cuy is going through all my incubators and doing a thorough cleaning, which means taking them apart and cleaning underneath and everything, like Katrina did her fan. Steve wanna know if I ordered the white wings yet. I can't talk about that yet, Steve. Ricky says, "Ever since my first quail, I've been addicted." I know, I can remember my first quail from a dozen eggs that, Hidden Heights Farm sent me. Kevin didn't know how to ship eggs, so a lot of them were busted, but I ended up with 2 quail out of it. One quail lived to be about 5 weeks old, and it died. So I had one quail that stayed alive, and I kept it in my front room here. And it wasn't until I moved it into the quail room and moved my bed out here that it started laying, because that way it was afraid Lucy would eat its eggs. Katrina says, "Mine is a bee venom cream. Clears up any of my sinus issues, runny nose and all." Cycle Ward says, "I've hatched about 250 babies." Dawn says, "Yesterday I cleaned my incubator and had hubby use compressed air to blow out the fan, and the down was sticky. It didn't take it all out. That's why I'm taking my fans apart, Dawn, is to clean them and clean underneath it, because that can affect some of the sensor issue." Dawn says, "I use clotted silver in a nasal spray bottle twice a day, and the next day sinus issues are gone." Psycho Ward says, "I drove over an hour to pick up 12 babies." Dawn says, "I can't take the fan off the NR 360. Well, that's another reason for me not to buy the 360. 'Cause all the others, I can figure out a way to take everything off. And if I break it, well, I just have to buy another one anyhow. I'm going to run a test through my first incubator and see if it still works and put a Govee in it and see how it runs. And I may use that for my next hatch. John says, "That's one reason why I ordered the Barato. The 360 is junk." Yeah, but the Barato is a lot more expensive, isn't it, Dawn? Ricky says, "Dawn, we also used Colada Silver at our house for many years. It's great stuff." Katrina says, "What type was your first incubator?" It was one that didn't have a name on it. It was about that big, had a dark plastic top where you could see through it. You can buy it, I think it's like $69 on Amazon. Dawn says the Barato is $10 more than the 360 now. They are crazy raising 360 way up. Yes, because they had a run on them. Pappy says, "My first incubator was a cardboard box and some light bulbs back in the 70s. Wow. Nice, Pappy. You know, Pappy, I think they could work. But I don't like using a heat lamp. But an old-fashioned 100-watt light bulb would work. Or even a 60-watt, depending on the size box you use. Katrina says, "Wow, Dawn, nice, Pappy." Dawn says, "Katrina, I know, that is crazy." Let me see here. $398.97, or $339 with the humidity pump. The one I originally bought is now a digital poultry hatching. No, that isn't it. See if it even shows the one I originally bought. Don't look like you can buy it. You can get a double decker for $158 with a coupon. The Hethia egg incubators for hatching eggs with automatic temperature control, chicken, quail eggs, incubator, humidity monitoring, holds 120 eggs. Yeah, there's a lot of different options you can use. Steve says that just finding the old-fashioned light bulb is not easy. I agree. Dave says, "I still have our first little giant." Pappy says, "Yep, threw a towel over the box and added a bowl of water for humidity." Great. Dawn says 182 for the NR 360 and 198 for the Barato. John says, Verna, I got the Barado Illumina 8, holds 32 quail eggs. Yep. C says, my ears perked up at 120 eggs. And David's going after coffee, everyone. She says, I got a new fan heater for my little giant. Just have to install it, probably right after I start my greens. Procrastination lives in Tennessee. No, procrastination, Tennessee. That's what he is. And Andy, you're right. The Kui only love food that you can give him. He says he's king procrastinator. No, you're a whole state in yourself, cuz. Procrastination, Tennessee. But see, if you want something bad enough, you don't procrastinate. So you don't want it bad enough. Dave says, I procrastinate, but we can talk about that later. C says, I moved to Mississippi to live in the woods. Okay, so it's procrastination, Mississippi. I was thinking you were in Tennessee. Truck says, I can procrastinate housework really well. Hey, Truck 3, I bet you I'm better at it than you are. That's the farthest down on my to-do list. I'll clean cages before I clean housework. Do housework. She says, but as I still have my place in Memphis, so I'm expanding my nation. And she says, I'm not sure if Steve knows where he is. I am beginning to think the same thing, Andy. Chuck 3 says, it doesn't go away. No, and if you clean it 5 minutes later, it don't look like it's been cleaned. Steve says, Andy, I know where the North Pole is not in Texas. Ha ha ha. That's their personal joke. So, because you'll probably get your freeze dryer around my birthday. Well, you guys give me a minute. I gotta let Lucy out. Okay, we have snow flurries right now, but none is sticking. Andy says it feels like the dang North Pole right now. David says, I just opened the curtains so the Dales could find their spot on the sun. They said I procrastinated long enough. Yeah, your damnations. David. Dawn says, Andy, is that because Texas is usually low humidity? It depends on what part of Texas, Dawn. C says, I should have it by the 1st of May, though. I'll be in Illinois around your birthday, May 11th. Not too far from me, cuz. Dawn says, Andy, did I tell you I ran the 360 dry after the hatch and humidity was 4%? Andy says, oh, wow, Dawn, you kept that, you keep that, Verna. We're not even going to get 2/100ths of an inch. So none of it's sticking. Dawn says, Steve, you will be in my state. She says, I've done that too, Dawn. Oh, you guys, since my neighbor got out of jail, he hasn't given me any problems. He's pestering the people down at the other end of the complex. And he says, my incubator is 24% humidity right now, Dawn. Dawn says, Steve, that's when we can't do dry hatching of any kind. No wonder the 360 kills me on keeping the humidity right at lockdown. And Dawn tells Andy that that is great. Steve says, was so excited on the new chicks that took my attention. I forgot the eggs and cooked 20 eggs dry. Ouch! David says, I usually try to start lockdown on day 15. What is the earliest or latest you have started lockdown? The earliest I started lockdown was day 12, and the latest I started lockdown was day 16 by accident. Eddie says it has been 19%, 20%, 28% the other times I checked it while I've been gone this week. John says, I always start lockdown the night of the 14th. Yeah, but he was asking, well, it's the earliest or latest that you start a lockdown. She says, I'm not a firm believer on the dry hatch in the incubator based on my outside humidity, as you can get pretty much drier in the incubator. Andy says she does lockdown at day 14, so do I, but he was asking what was the latest and the earliest that you've done it. Katrina says, Andy, how is your new mama doing? Andy says, so far she's doing great, Katrina. C says, my earliest was 14, latest was 15. I set multiple reminders on my computer, phone, Alexa, so I rarely forget. Well, see, the day that I did day 12 was because I was confused what day I started the eggs on. And the day I did 16 was when I was beginning. Don says, I use a hatch keeper software to remind me if I forget. I don't risk them hatching out in the egg turner. Katrina says, awesome, Andy. I write it on my calendar in front of my desk, so every time I look at the computer, I can see it. And Dawn, I haven't had the hatch keeper since I got this new computer. So I need to go back and download it again. Because I know it was updated during the time I had my old computer, but this is okay. I have put off lockdown long enough. TTFN. Ta-ta for now. Dawn says, I've had a bird journal, and I write everything down and just in case the power goes out and can't get on the computer. Andy says, if you don't get to lockdown on day 14, they hatch before I remember to get to it. I've had them hatch in the turner a few times. One time I needed to do lockdown and life got crazy. And 3 days later, they all hatched out and I just unplugged the turner. She says another program wouldn't help me. Wouldn't remember to open the program. I put it in Excel as I'm in that every day. Well, I put it on the calendar behind my computer. So every time I turn on my computer, I can see it. Andy says the latch hatch one that got stuck under the turner. Dawn says, Steve, hatch keeper pops up when you turn your computer on and stays up until you close it or turn it off. C says, write it on the QuailCon calendar by my computer. Didn't think about that. See? Because you're always looking at that. Dawn says, with the circular motion of the 360 turner, I think it would rip their feet and legs off. I agree it would. Someone tag Brooke Muse and tell her I'm in live stream. Dawn says, or suck them under it and just turn the whole chick into mashed chick. Ugh. SO says, doesn't the 360 stop turning automatically on day 0 as it counts down? Thank you, Katrina. because I know I'm a little over today. We'll go until a half hour, and then I'll cut off. Andy says, I'll be getting home late the 20th, and lockdown is the 22nd for this hatch. Dawn says, Steve, my 360 stops when it decides to. It never worked right. I think this hatch is stopped on day 7 once. Dawn says, Andy, you can rest up before you lock down. Yeah, so you'll be getting home the first evening of spring, Andy. Ricky says, Dawn, I've had that happen to me before. I got the egg turner out. It sucked the birds. It sucked the birds were under and on the sides, all crying to me. And I was like, sorry, buddies. And it says, that's how I planned it, Dawn. She says, I'm locking down on the 23rd. We'll be hatching buddies, Andy. Callie says, I'm listening. Hope everybody has a fantastic Saturday. Good morning, Brooke. Glad to see you. Dawn says, I had to unplug and plug it back and program it to day 25 and hatch so it wouldn't shut off again, LOL. And he says, right on, Steve. Dawn says, Ricky, that was horrible. Katrina says, hi, Brooke. C says, do we get a puppy report? Yes, yes, Brooke, give us a puppy report. Katrina says, oh, a puppy report. And Katrina asks, what is a mix again, Brooke? Give her a few minutes to type it out, you guys. Katrina, are you towards Southern California? And I think Brooke is Northern California. Ed says, good morning, Verna. Good morning, Ed. Glad you can make it. The last 15 minutes of the live, because we're going 2.5 hours this morning. And Ed, I'm going to have a lot of freeze-dried ice cream for QuailCon. Ice cream that I make myself. And he says, I'll be posting on MeWe on my rabbits when I get home. I want to see the babies. Ed said, awesome. Yeah, right now I got peppermint ice cream that's ready to go into the freeze dryer. All I got to do is scoop it, let it freeze back for an hour, and then put it in the freeze dryer. Katrina says, I'm just south of the San Francisco Bay, Middle East, somewhat towards the coast. And C says, Katrina is central north near San Francisco. Yeah, and Brooke is in the north towards Washington, I think. Katrina says, hi, Ed. Jasmine says, back. I didn't know you were still on. Welcome back, Jasmine. Yeah, we're running over a little bit today because everybody's coming in kind of late. So we got about 14 more minutes yet. That says, I haven't freeze dried in 2 weeks. Haven't mustered the energy to clean it and change the oil. Yeah, I got to change oil before I go again, too. Tina says, hi, Jasmine. How are the goats? Jasmine's giving love. Jasmine says, did I miss anything good? It depends on what you call good. See, Jasmine's got kids. Brooke has puppies. And most everybody else either has rabbits or quail chicks. C says, we need a kid report too. Jasmine says, goats are doing great. Have you posted any to your live stream yet, Jasmine? I've been waiting for that. All those videos you should share that you shared, you should put on your channel. Time and Timber. And for those that don't know, here again is the link to Quail University. Jasmine says, I have goat kids, quail chicks, chicken chicks, rabbit kits, and more. LOL. Kelly says, Brooke says, it's very hard to type. They're doing fabulous and are Dargo Argentino, bred for hunting hogs, 1/4 American Bulldog. She says, I'm going to steal one of the cutest kids when I get a yard. Katrina says, nice, Brooke. Brooke says, 12 beautiful pups, 3 boys and 12 girls. You mean 15 beautiful pups. Video coming soon on birth. Wonderful, Callie. Brooke. So she has 15 pups, 12 girls and 3 boys. Trina says, I have rabbit kits and quail chicks and plant babies. Okay, you guys, I'll be right back. I got to close all those doors and give Lucy her treat. There you go, baby. Kelly says, 9 girls. Whoops. Brooke says, 9 girls. Brain isn't working yet. Oh, okay. So you have 12 babies, 9 girls, and 3 boys. Jasmine says, I need to get some plant babies going. Katrina says, yes, you do, Jasmine. Ed says, "Hi, Katrina." Just a minute, guys. Stairs did a little number on me. Okay. Ed says, "I'm slow this morning, LOL." She says, Steve says, "We just need 3 more likes." Oh my goodness, 27 likes. Three more likes would make me 30. Wow, I can't believe it. But it's afternoon now, Ed. Dawn says, "I see 28." Well, I only see 27 right now, but I'm usually one behind. She says, "I do too, Dawn, but Verna is always short." Yeah. The one that has the studio running always shows one less for a while, and then it'll catch up with you guys if I don't get any more likes. That says, "Learn my yard is infested with purple dead nettles, so need to find out if wife's dragon can eat it." Thinking about letting it run out there? Katrina says, "Release the dragon." She says, "No, no, no, release the dragon." That says, "No, pick it and feed them." Aw, bummer, Ed. We were having fun thinking about dragons running loose. Lucy, what are you into? Now go lay down. Dragons, plural. Yeah, release all the dragons. What do you call a group of dragons? Let me see. Ah, a group of dragons is called a thunder. So let that thunder out, Ed. Steve says, "Ed, they can provide a range of benefits, vitamins, and minerals to a bearded dragon's diet." Ed says, "Run." Tina says, "Tractor the dragons." Doesn't have the same ring to it, but your neighbors might think you're crazy. Who cares what neighbors thinks? I don't. Ed laughs. So a group of dragons are called a thunder. Brooke says, "I'm challenging my brain doing everything with the left hand. Brushing teeth is surprisingly difficult, LOL." Yep, Kelly, that teach you not to protect your car. Your car's supposed to protect you. Katrina asks, "How's your hand, Brooke?" C says, reminder, do not catch flying metal stuff, which is bigger than you are. Brooke says, I still have a thumb, so great. That's a good way to look at it, Brooke. Katrina smiles. Well, everybody have a blessed day. Brooke, you take care of yourself. Everybody else take care of your babies. Have a blessed day and stay safe. I'll talk to you tomorrow night at my Shires live stream.